Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Live from the Ley Line. I'm your host, Cameron Porter, with my boy, as always, Avery Newitt. How you doing, buddy?
I am great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm
I
doing
am on
very
the
good.
laptop audio today. My computer just croaked on me, so
Man, took a little shit on you.
yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm
it's all
sorry to hear
good.
that. So today's exciting because, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a guest for you. We've got Bob LeMent in. He's the host of Static Radio. I don't know if you would consider that a podcast or just like a radio show. I listened to you on Spotify under the little podcast
Oh, hey,
section.
well, fantastic. I don't. That's a good question because static radio became something before there was a podcast. So it was online audio. I don't know what we'd call it at the time, but so it's been around a while, and so but you can call it whatever you want. I don't care. It's all good.
Yeah,
It,
I love
That
it.
was
Go
that was
ahead.
one of the first things I heard was that you've been doing this for over 24 years.
yeah, this will be. Yeah, we're doing it a long time now. Did it right out of college, was in college radio, and then went and started doing this on the internet back in 1999.
Damn.
Wow.
I know, and you guys weren't even born yet, for Christ's sake.
I know. I was just a thought before that, man.
You're
That's so
like,
cool.
what are you talking before 2000? What are you even talking to me about, Grandpa?
Right. I didn't even know there was a time before 2000.
Yeah, exactly. Horse and carriage or something. What did you do? Yeah, we had two cans on a string, and we were somehow recorded that. So
I
Yeah.
was gonna say you had to send a courier pigeon to get the show on
that's
the
right.
line.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I remember when Mike Tyson used to do these via his pigeons, and we would join in.
You guys had to write letters back and forth.
That's right.
You'd compile them.
Dear Miles, today you won't believe what happened to me today.
Yeah.
I hope this letter finds you well.
That's right. I hope this pigeon doesn't die or get shot and eaten.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Oh, that's hilarious, man. But yeah, so you're a veteran in the game. And so for me and Avery just getting into this, we're just kind of dipping our toes. It's, it's very cool to have somebody like that on and, hopefully
Oh,
we'll
hey,
learn a thing or two.
yeah, probably not, but we'll hope for the best. We'll
Right.
hope for the best.
That's all we can do. That's all we can do. So for our listeners that don't know you, Bob, tell us a little bit about yourself and, how you got your start and whatnot. I know you mentioned college radio being, kind of the thing that ignited it, but yeah, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so started doing the show basically in name and everything on college radio. And then after college, I said, well, we could keep doing this, kind of like you guys. You're like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
And then I figured out how we could do that at the time, which is much different than it is today. And we started recording shows, and basically we just kept it up. So I have a co-host, Miles, and we basically tell stories. I call it either we tell stories or we have a 24-year conversation where each week we basically just try to crack each other up with something stupid that happened or funny. And then while the other person's telling their story, you try to poke fun at them while they're doing it. So it's all kind of in the name of fun. And essentially it's kind of what we did in college, but we've extended it into our responsible adult lives, I suppose you could call it that. Yeah.
Very cool.
That is fun.
Maybe not so responsible. I don't know.
Right.
I
That's
like
very
the
cool.
poking holes at the person talking aspect.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That's
So I
important.
mean that's because that's what you do when you guys are talking normally, right? And you don't have any kind of agenda or whatever. You hear when you say, I mean, I don't know what it would be, but let's just say hey, I went and got a smoothie or something stupid. And you're like, oh yeah, you fat fucker, what are you doing? You need a smoothie like you need another hole in your ass or something. And then just stuff like that. I mean, sometimes it's not quite that rude, but you never know. It just depends on what the topic is. So
Right.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh, there is still a lot of fat fucker jokes, but
Well,
I
it's all
apologize. I apologize to anybody listening who identifies as a fat fucker.
Oh yeah, before
Oh,
we
man.
record every episode, we always hop in and we get after each other as well.
Yep, we have
Yeah,
to.
Yeah, and then
Love
Miles
it.
is always late, and so I always got to tell him, "Why are you always late, you bastard? You make me sit here."
Oh, I love it.
One of Cameron's favorite things to do is drink milk out of a blue glass,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
if it just
really?
rubs me the wrong way.
It
I'm
gets
Is
always
it?
right
like,
under Avery's skin.
"What the
I
hell are you
can't.
drinking?"
Is it a plastic glass or is it
No,
a glass glass?
it's like a stained mason jar.
Oh,
It's just yeah, it's
okay.
just a
All
blue
right.
mason jar, but it makes it
Just
look like it's
checking.
blue milk.
I
Just
can't
pisses me
stand
off.
plastic milk in a plastic cup. Throws me over the edge. I'm like, why in the world?
Yeah, it freaks me out a little bit
What
too.
kind of mongrel are you that you're drinking out of a plastic milk out of a plastic cup?
Oh, I love it,
Although it
mongrel.
comes in a plastic jug, right? So what
I
am
was
I?
just gonna
A
say that.
weirdo?
I was like, it comes in plastic. I mean, you gotta at least,
Yeah.
cut the bullshit a little
Elevate
bit and put it in
yourself.
glass.
Elevate yourself.
It'd be like
Get a glass.
Yeah.
it'd be like waking up in the morning and getting yourself a nice cup of red Solo cup water. You know,
Oh, fuck. Yeah, there's something wrong with that.
What are you, a homeless guy?
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Oh shit. I love it. I love it.
Scrubbing
So,
out my solo cups here.
oh, I know the people that wash their solo cups are a weird breed. I have to
Yeah,
tell you.
what?
If you're putting solo cups on the dish rack, get the fuck out
Yeah.
of here.
You're not understanding the purpose of these
Yeah.
cups.
You
They're
buy
to be
those so you can
abused.
throw them away.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Ah, I love it. I love it.
Well, that's a great intro, and I think the way me and Cameron do our show is I don't know if you heard before, but we go super deep into conspiracy.
Yeah.
What?
So
Oh my
sometimes
God, I
it's
thought this was about how to bake stuff. Oh my Lord.
sometimes ours is not as fun as that.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. I love conspiracy stuff. That's we can go whatever direction you want to go. I got all kinds of crazy ideas that floating
Yeah.
through my head. Yeah. Whether
Sometimes
they're true or not is beyond who knows, but
exactly.
that's okay.
Exactly.
Hey, that is above my pay grade, whether it's true or
That's
not. I'm
right.
just
Yeah.
here to talk some shit.
Yeah. Today we'll probably stick more towards like Sasquatch and UFOs, but sometimes we talk
sure.
about politicians drinking baby blood and stuff,
Oh my
Yeah.
just
gosh.
typical stuff.
Just a
Well,
normal
yeah.
day. Light
That's how
work.
Biden learned. That's how he walks these days. He's got to crack open a baby and so he can get off the plane.
When he's not being tripped by ghosts.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh Lord.
He's getting to the point where he's, kind of vampire-ish because he's so elderly and
Yeah,
did you
see the
going
video
around.
of his chin like dangling like a couple of balls that came out recently?
What? I didn't
Yeah.
see that.
It looks like his face is falling off. He's like trying to do an
Is
interview and his mouth
Is
is
it kind of
moving.
like? Do you remember Roger Ebert? He had to get his chin removed, and so his
Yeah.
face just is it like that.
Yeah.
It's
Ooh,
weird.
Strange.
It's weird. It looks like a face mask that's just kind of dripping down at this point.
Maybe they maybe they put a mechanism in there so that somebody's in the background like a puppet, like he's like a muppet, and they're going making his mouth move.
Got the hand all the way up
And
the ass.
broke. Yeah, it broke.
Oh Lord.
My jaw broke.
Yeah. They don't have somebody in the back holding the face skin tight.
Right, exactly.
Oh
The
shit.
staple gun ran out of staples whenever they're on their trip.
Right.
Yeah.
I know one of the clothespins came off the back skin.
Shot off, took out an aid.
Good Lord. Yeah, somebody's getting fired for sure for that one.
Yeah,
Secret Service is
or-
getting reamed.
Or maybe he's reptilian and that's just his fake face coming off.
Yeah,
There you
very
go.
well
Go
could be.
reptilian direction there.
Yes. I love to ponder that idea a little bit. Me and Avery, a lot of the focus that we put on is like biblical, spins to these conspiracies.
Mhm.
And one of the interesting things that I was learning, because I'm not a Christian, I probably fit into the morals of a Christian, but I one day I'll come around to it.
What's
One day.
what would give me a list of the moral? Is it like the 10 Commandments? Is that the morals of a Christian?
Yeah, basically. Just
I've never heard anybody
not
say
really-
that. I got the morals of a Christian, but the sex drive of an ape.
Yeah.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
would say just not harming others and
Oh, okay.
generally just trying to
a-
do good.
A good person then. You try to be a
Right.
good person. Even
Right.
though I think human nature makes us not be good necessarily by definition, but
Yes, we're
you
sinners
have to
by
work
nature.
at it. Yeah.
100%. And I think that is the mark of a good Christian, is just, accepting that you're doing bad and you're innately bad, but making the conscious effort to try to do your best is how I would.
You guys ever played sports with Christians at all?
Oh yeah.
They are the lousiest people to play sports with. They're such cheaters, and then they'll kick you. They always get mad when they lose and they throw
Yeah.
shit around. Oh
That is
my
true.
God.
That is true.
Christian league is like the worst. If you want to get in a fight, join a Christian league of some kind. So.
Yeah.
I want to play some hockey with some Christians. Pull the shirt
they're
up over
terrible,
the
and they'll be like hooking you and sticking the, tripping you and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
They're the worst. I don't know if that's a conspiracy theory, but
I'm gonna start researching
It might be. Yeah.
You might be onto
Gotta-
something, Bob.
oh no, I know I'm onto something because I've experienced it.
Gotta look into it, man.
Oh, I love it.
If you guys want to, get pissed off, go join some kind of Christian sports league, and you'll be pissed off within a day.
Right. Right. Well, and I hold the belief too, like some of the most hypocritical people I've met, and it's terrible to draw a big circle around everybody. It's terrible to generalize, but some of the most hypocritical people I've met have been Christians or people that claim the Christian faith. And
and look in their search histories, there's all porn and fingering dogs and all kinds of crazy shit.
Oh no, Avery, I gotta see your search history now, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta see what's going on.
Two words: incognito tab.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's the way to do it. My phone just stays in incognito mode, so I don't even so that nobody even bats an eye. I'm like, oh, incognito mode's on. How do you turn that off?
No.
Play the old guy card.
One day it just was there. I don't know how to do anything about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Joe Biden set this up for me, and it's been that way ever since.
It was Hunter and his laptop. They put incognito mode on mine.
Oh my goodness.
Shit. That's funny stuff. But what I was saying is that we look at like the biblical aspect of it, and an interesting thing I learned is that the Cain bloodline might very well be this like serpent bloodline on the earth, and that's where they get these ideas of a serpent race or whatever, and these shape-shifting
the reptilians and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So Eve was going out after dark or something and caught up with the snake.
Eve is for the streets, bro.
Yeah,
she is for the streets.
I'm missing a rib, but I'm not missing a meal or a good fuck.
Right. I guess Adam was weighing it. He's like, all right. She's
I'm
pretty
tired,
cool.
Eve. I gotta get some sleep. This extra rib is weighing me down.
I love it. Oh, shit cracks me up. Yeah. And
that's interesting. I've never thought about that. I'll be honest with you. I never thought about I mean, if you follow all that biblical stuff, then we came from. I mean, I don't know who Cain and Abel married, but or got with other than Eve, but that's where supposedly, according to the stories, that's where we come from. So
yeah,
they don't talk about the Neanderthal mix that we've all got, and not everybody, but some people,
a lot of people. Joe Rogan especially, he's got like 50% monkey in him for sure.
For sure.
That's why he's got that logo that way.
Yep.
Which is like great grandfather or something.
He's the monkey man himself. Oh, I love it. So Avery, what conspiracy you want to go into first, buddy?
Spin the wheel, Avery.
Yeah, spin the wheel.
Dude, we should make a wheel.
You should
like
make
when
a wheel.
we have a guest, we're like, all right, and let's see what the wheel tells us.
That is genius.
I like that idea. I'm gonna start working on it.
There you go.
I'll take baby eaters for 500, please.
Like I said, we don't have to do anything too crazy today. I think a fun starting is a brand new video of Sasquatch was just released in Colorado, which is where me and Cameron are from. And
so were you guys there that day? First of all, first question, where were you on that day?
I was in the monkey suit. I was actually in that real nice conditioned outfit.
Yeah.
Stomping through.
Yeah.
Now I've looked at this. This came to my attention, so I'm very familiar with this. So
Yeah.
lead away. I'm curious now.
Oh, I just wanted to get opinions on it. What do we think?
At first blush, I thought it was fake at first blush. When I saw the zoomed in picture, it looks like what is it? The Slim Jim guy. What is the name?
The Jack Links.
Yeah,
Jack Links guy, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Jack Links. Yeah, to me at first blush, but then wait a minute. Is that what you guys thought? First thing looks like a suit, right? The guy in a suit.
For sure.
I told Cameron my initial thought is the funny thing is when it's walking, its hair is so nice and it's just flowing in the wind so perfectly that it almost looks like it's freshly conditioned.
Yeah,
that was my first thought.
It looked like an Olay commercial. Him walking through.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that part. Yeah, that's good.
I thought
I'm thinking back now. Yeah, maybe.
It definitely looks like it was a freshly washed suit to me.
Yeah.
But that's not to say I don't definitely somewhat believe that there might be a interdimensional monkey walking around our forests. Who says not? You know?
Right. Yeah.
I think it looks fake, but then this is the first time I saw it was the zoomed in version, but then they had the zoomed out, the real actual footage. I'm like, where the hell is that? That's like nowhere. Are you guys familiar with the area at all?
Yeah, it's on a train ride through. It's like close to Breckenridge, isn't it, Cam?
Yeah, it's between Breck and Durango. So it's it's like on the south side of that mountain that like Crested Butte is in the middle of.
Okay. So would you guys consider walking to that or getting there? How would you get there? That would be my question.
You could probably get there fairly easy. There's a lot of BLM land in Colorado that you're allowed to kind of just explore. I know a lot of hunters frequent that area. And the first thing that put my hackles up is there's a lot of people like Steve Ranella and Les Stroud who have come to the San Juan Mountains and done extended stays, and they don't see shit. The people that are actually in the woods don't see anything.
Yeah.
Well, but a lot of people don't see anything. But I was just curious of how remote it was, because in the video, then when you see the original, it looks pretty remote, and I'm thinking, well, you can't see what's behind it, right? Like it could be like there's a Walmart parking lot behind the guy that's shooting the video. Like you see all the Bear Grylls stuff where they show you what Bear Grylls shows you, and then they turn around and it's like, there's Starbucks and all kinds of shit.
Yeah, there's a whole production scene behind it.
Right. Everybody's in their trailers and
so
I don't know, but it looked pretty remote, but the look of the face and everything looked a little too suit like.
Right.
But they're like, well, the train, I read somewhere they're like, well, the train people are just trying to drum up business. It's like, well, why didn't they do this before then? Why all of a sudden are they drumming up business now? And do they need to drum up business? I think it's probably going pretty well, don't you? Or
I didn't even think about that. Drumming up, like getting people to look at the train like, oh shit, we got to take that train right now. Maybe there's
you guys should go. And then, they need to put a plaque or something or tell you over the intercom. All right, we're passing the infamous Bigfoot footage from 2023.
Yeah. I would go all out, and I would have like that ride at Disneyland where Jaws comes up out of the water. I would just go all out and have Sasquatches just attack the train.
Yeah.
Throwing stuff,
throwing poop at you. Rocks and poop.
There's just a guy taking a cell phone video and just shit hits the window.
Yeah. So you guys are on the skeptical nature of it, and so I'm still, I think, out a little bit because I don't know the area that well. So I at first I was like, it's fake, but then I saw the white. I'm like, well, wait a minute, this looks like it's nowhere, and would it be hard to get there? You know what I mean? Because people are inherently lazy, Right. So I mean, it really, if somebody was going to do that, you think it probably would have happened already. And, if it was a marketing thing, then they do something else, or they're not monetizing it somewhere. There's not like Sasquatch t-shirts on the train. I saw Sasquatch out the left side or something.
Right.
Then that means to me that it's, they're not doing a lot of marketing. So therefore it pushes it back towards the center.
Yes.
So I don't know. So I'd be curious if you guys want to go on a field trip and go on the train and report back. I think that would be fantastic.
That would be fun.
I think that would be the difference there is how, how desolate is it? How far till something else, because walking around in a monkey suit, I mean, if you say there's hunters and everything, I mean, you can get your ass shot. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some guy itching to kill a Bigfoot, and if you're walking around out there, he's gonna take you out.
100%.
That's
You
very
just see
true.
Bigfoot with a fucking orange vest
Yeah,
on.
red vest.
Got the hunter cap on. Like, don't shoot, don't shoot.
Those are all
So I
great
mean,
points. You'd have to be really committed to going out and doing that prank as well, because it's hot as hell in those suits. From what I've heard, I don't typically go out in my Bigfoot costume
wait
anymore,
a minute.
but
Now you're implicating yourself. Last time I was out in the suit over there by the railroad, I mean, never
it was
mind.
really hot.
It was really fucking hot. But yeah, I mean, you have to be really committed, and most people aren't. I mean, they're not, unless there's a payoff, right? And the payoff is, you're not guaranteed that some guy is going to record you unless he's in on it, right?
Right.
And so if you can clear that guy, which I think he seems to be so far, I think the scrutiny has been that he's not in on it, right? He just happened to be on the train and happened to look in the right place at the right time.
Yes.
And I wouldn't walk out in a suit in the middle of nowhere to hope that some idiot took a cell phone out and filmed me.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I totally believe there's a Bigfoot in some way, shape, or form that's some kind of ape, right? I totally think that that's true.
Yeah.
Where it's at and when you can find it, who knows? But I think that is something. It's just we haven't hit upon it yet.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of on that side of the fence a little bit there.
And I agree with you 100%. I think there's too many people that have Bigfoot stories and sightings about it. And I mean, what reason would they have to tell a lie,
Well, but lots of people lie, but yeah, so many though. And then also so many ones that seem more credible. And then you've got, footprints and, they have footprints, handprints, ass prints. I mean, they've got all kinds of prints on these things.
Right.
That shouldn't be there, as well as just other weird, the people go overboard. You watch the TV shows and stuff and they're like, a couple of trees are knocked together and like, oh, it's fucking Bigfoot's been here. He made a teepee and he hung out. And now, trees fall over constantly. And sometimes they fall in an arrangement that seems interesting if you walk upon it in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
But there are some other things. I think like there's been trackways and in Washington there was a trackway with like almost 100 footprints, one after the other in some muddy area and stuff like that really are more interesting to to provide proof. Not obviously there's not a dead body or anything, but how many times, I mean, I don't know, you guys live in a rural area, more of the city? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I live more in the city. I'm in Colorado Springs.
Okay.
But we were both born up in the Aspen Valley, the little runoff there. And so it's fairly rural. I wouldn't say it's a city, but it's also not, a small town.
Yeah. But I mean, how many times have you seen any kind of large dead animal? I mean, you see deer because they get hit by cars, but
right.
I mean, have you ever seen a dead bear in the woods?
No.
Have you ever seen bear bones, in the woods?
I've seen bears, but no, never.
Yeah, you see the bears themselves, but not. Yeah. And so, I mean, everybody's always like, well, there's no skeletons and there's no, and it's like, unless you're in there all the time, chances are of anything of any size, you're probably not going to see it unless it's, I mean, squirrels because they get run over and,
right.
Raccoons and stuff, but there's a bazillion of them. We just don't, have you ever seen a dead cougar?
No.
But
the first thing
have you even never seen a cougar?
I've never seen one in person. My dad has seen them. He works as a cop, and so he's always driving around at night and whatnot. And he said he's seen a couple of them. But it's quick glimpses. You don't even really get to see them. You like see a tail, and you're like, holy shit. That's a cougar.
Yeah, and then you're like, I'm not getting out, take a piss here. That's
no, hell no. Yeah. I think the biggest skeleton that I've ever seen in like nature would probably either be like a deer or an elk, like spine or skeleton, something that got tore up by a cougar or some coyotes,
right?
And they left it there after they ate what they needed to.
Even coyotes, you don't see dead coyotes very often. There's lots of them.
Yeah. I think predators have a natural inclination to like hide themselves when they're dying. I would say like if you checked in some bear den, you might find some bones. But other than that, I think they do a good job of hiding themselves.
Yeah, I think so. And so yeah, I that argument I kind of like, yeah, whatever, most of the time, whenever somebody says that to me, I'm like, you probably grew up in the suburbs or the city because there's some guy, named Daryl that scrapes up all the animals for you. And you never get to see him because the neighbor's dog gets run over. They come and take care of it for you. You don't live out far enough to where, dead things lay there till they get totally eaten or dragged off,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And even then you don't see large animals dead somewhere. It's just not the norm,
No, not very typical.
Yeah. So, but I mean, as far as Bigfoot goes, I think there's something to it, and hopefully, someday we'll find out. What always aggravates me is most of these shows that are about Bigfoot. It's like these guys, it's like, okay, we're here for 3 days. Oh, didn't find any Bigfoots. We're going to go across the other side of the country and hang out there for a week, and and then we're going to move back over here.
Yeah.
I mean, It's like, it's really just a travel log, isn't it? They're not really.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
They don't stick around anywhere. Somebody needs to live out there for like 3 years, and then maybe they'll catch a glimpse of something.
Right.
We've got Bigfoot handprints, footprints, ass prints. Where's the dong prints, though?
Right.
Where's the dong prints?
I'm waiting
I don't
for
know.
someone.
That's a good question.
I'm waiting for someone to find a petrified Bigfoot dong.
That's funny. I don't remember if the butt print had nards on it or not. I don't remember hearing about that. Maybe Bigfoot's, he's not well hung Bigfoot. Maybe he's just, teeny tiny Bigfoot. So.
He's like those Greek statues, right? Acorn in the bushes.
Yeah, it all sucks in whenever he sits down. Nothing there.
Yeah,
these turtle Bigfoot.
That's how he keeps it from getting stuck on all those goat heads. He just slurps it in until it's use time.
It also may explain why there's not too many.
Yeah, hard to reproduce. Huh?
Hard to reproduce. It's got to be, the sun's got to be in the right place. And
oh shit!
So I actually thought of something. In the background, you have a picture of Stonehenge.
I do, yeah.
Things like Stonehenge and pyramids and all these things that are perfectly built and aligned with stars and stuff. What's your theory on how they're built?
Okay. I'm gonna flip and flop here. So Bigfoot thing, I'm all in for these things. I think it's just very industrious people at the time. So, and actually, I took that picture of Stonehenge. I was got to go there. I think it was fun. And somehow I was able to take it with hardly anybody in it, even though there's about a bazillion people swarming around there.
Yeah.
I got lucky. But I think but something I always say about people is everybody in the past was an idiot, right? They didn't know how to do shit, but that's not the case. Everybody in the past was just as smart as you and I are.
Yeah.
They just didn't have the technology developed at that time. And so there was really smart people back then who, for not, maybe because they didn't have cell phones and televisions, they watched the sky and then they're like, hey, if we line this up here, then this star is going to be here. And that's what they spent their time on. And then, moving these things, yes, it would have been, a terrible, arduous task. But what else are you doing?
Yeah, what else you got to do?
We always think we got it good because, but, those guys didn't work, 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. They kind of like, wake up whenever the sun comes up. I'll pill around. I'll plant some shit. Maybe I'll, diddle the wife, have a couple kids, what have you, and then you're like, you know what? I need a hobby. Let's make this Stonehenge because they got a lot of hours to while away with not a lot to do,
Yeah.
Right.
And so they probably had way more spare time than we have. But their spare time, there wasn't anything, obvious to do. So they're like, people are like, hey, let's get together. You guys in your spare time, are like, hey, let's do a podcast. So they're going, hey, let's build this Stonehenge, and we can get the idiot Billy to haul these rocks over a mountain for us.
Yeah,
And
right.
he'll think it's the greatest, if we just give him some food.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of what happened. I don't know that, although I do have, kind of waver on the whole, some kind of levitation things that happened in the past that we just don't remember or don't know about anymore. There could be, because resonance and sounds and so forth, there could be something to it, but nobody knows how to do that now, at least on a scale.
Yeah.
You could see there's videos of people like taking a crumpled up piece of tinfoil and levitating that, but not like rock.
Right.
But have you seen, just to the point though, I'm a blank on this guy in Florida. He made by himself. I don't remember the name of the place now, but he carved these tons of stones and balanced them. What's the name of that place? You guys remember off the top of your heads?
I don't know the name, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
But he worked all by himself and basically used levers and fulcrums and block and tackle, and built this kind of cool place down in Florida out of these big rocks all by himself. And he would work. He had a job and he'd work at night. No one really, paid attention to him. And then he got it all done. And like, hey, this is fantastic. How did you do it? And he's like, fuck you. Where were you? I asked everybody to show up and nobody did. And I did it all by myself. So, but I mean, he perfectly balanced these rocks and everything, which weigh as much as what we're looking at in the picture for Stonehenge. And so it's, it's possible. And I mean, he wasn't, he didn't have a big crane or anything. He's just some, guy who's, again, didn't feel like reading the paper or something. So he went outside and did this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's all possible. I do think that there's, maybe this is going to get into other area, but if you look at, they say there was some kind of ritualistic things. It's not a graveyard, right? There are some bones, but not enough to be considered a graveyard. And so it probably skewed towards religious. And we were just talking about Christians. Religion, it seems to be, for a lot of people, a great motivator, right? And so maybe it was a religious thing, and they got all these people together and they're like, we got to do a fundraiser and build Stonehenge.
Yeah.
And then it got built, because that's what happens even today,
Right.
So yeah, I think that's where I'm at on that one.
Okay.
And I agree with you 100%. I think it was much more in the realm of like, either they're using it as like some sort of effigy for a god, or it's, Stargate or whatever, these ancient people trying to appease their god. And like, if we build it like this and we put it in a perfect circle and we align it with these stars, they'll let the corn grow next year.
Maybe something will happen.
Yeah.
I
liked your point, where it's like, just because everyone didn't have an iPhone back then doesn't mean they're a bunch of idiots.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah. Have you ever been there? Have you ever seen it?
I've been there.
Yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a highway. You can, there's a highway right there next to it. So you can see Stonehenge and just drive by.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And so but in the picture, it looks like it's a pretty good distance away from things. But I mean, it's right there off the highway.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wild. And there's more of them. There's actually, I think Stonehenge is not really even in England, even the most impressive one. There's the serpent thing, and there's a bunch of other, rock things. And they found even
Tons
more.
Tons of
them. That's just the one that was most intact. And the funny thing is, some of those stones, they aren't original. People have farted around with it and moved it. So some of those really aren't where they used to be. And now I'm not just talking about European Vacation where Clark Griswold runs into them, but
right.
You guys ever seen,
seen
that?
Great movies.
So yeah, but I think it's fascinating though. I mean, it gets, that all this gets to Easter Island and the pyramids and all that, where they move these big things of stone. I was just with Pumapunku, right? So Pumapunku is the one where they have the the carving in them is so precise that we can't even do it today, right?
Yeah.
Where they fit together and they essentially fit together like Lego blocks or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think I watched something not too long ago that, and this was always been a theory, I think, but so those probably weren't rocks. Those were probably some kind of slurry that they put into molds, and that's how they made them so perfect. But the hilarious thing to me is these people a long time ago figured out how to make this kind of concrete slurry and make it look like it does all these, thousands of years later. And we don't know how to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like Roman concrete is another thing like that, where Roman concrete, you could go over to Europe and there's these areas on the ocean that are concrete that don't erode, and they're still intact from Roman times, because the Romans made a concrete that was different than the concrete we make today. And I think it turned out they finally figured out it was some kind of volcanic ash or something that you add to the mix to keep it so it gets harder over time. It gets more rigid over time rather than breaking down over time. And then it's like, well, why are we doing this?
Right.
I mean, you want to get into conspiracies. I mean, I think all these things are known, but they're suppressed.
100%.
Yeah.
Because they don't want things to last forever anymore. They don't want, people to build these kind of things anymore, because they'll last, and that ruins the economic engine that the powers that be have set up for us here.
Absolutely. They only want things to last a year past the warranty. That's all they want.
if that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree. And I think a lot of that knowledge was probably either hidden away in places like the Vatican, where you have to have a specific little order note of what you're looking for. Otherwise, you're not getting to look at that shit. Or it was burned when Alexandria was sacked.
Right. Yeah. The library. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you think we would have figured it out. I mean, I was just talking to my wife the other day about cars for some reason. I don't even know why. She didn't even like cars. I don't know why I was talking to her. But I'm like, why are they still building cars out of steel? We have all this carbon fiber shit. It's got to be getting cheaper at this point. All race cars, any kind of fancy sports car is made out of carbon fiber, right? And then carbon fiber is too expensive. I'm like, how can it even be? How can that be possible that it's more expensive than steel? Because it's like fiberglass. It's just layers and layers of this shit glued together,
Yeah.
So there's just something wrong with there's a lot of illogical things that people pull off as logical statements. Oh, it's just too expensive. Right. How can it be? You know what I mean? If it is too expensive, then is somebody, gaming the system, setting the price? Yes. That's happened many, many times, because we could have, I don't know if you guys are interested. I'm bouncing around. So if you want me to not bounce around, just say so.
That's how it goes. That's how it always goes. Yeah.
Interested in, so they're pushing electric cars, right? Everybody, they're electric car. And I think it's interesting. I don't know that it's necessarily, we don't have to do it, but it is interesting. And essentially, whenever I look at it, they're looking at it and saying, the story is in the media and everything is, we got to do this to save the environment. It's like, well, maybe we don't make a bunch of solo cups, we'll save the environment more maybe than an electric car, because there's a bazillion of solo cups, that don't rot away, have a half-life of like 10,000 years or something. But so anyway, electric cars, and then there's a story about a solar. A lot of times these competitions make these. Now they used to make competitions to see how far they can make a car go. Now they're like a combustion car for mileage. Now they're doing electric cars, and they've made a solar car that went four-wheel drive solar car that went 620 miles, because the thing's covered in solar panels. So it was out in the desert, constantly regenerating energy as it's driving, right? So then they charge it up. I can't remember what the battery pack was, but it's like 100 miles or something.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. I don't know for sure.
That's like typical.
And,
yeah.
Yeah. And then, then there you go. And now I'm like, if it was made of carbon, chances are it was made of carbon fiber. They put all these panels on it. So it's possible. All these things are possible, but we're not doing them. And why aren't we doing them? That's always my question. It's
the solar thing is really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love how the push for electric cars is to save the environment. The amount of energy it takes to power batteries in electric cars is way, way worse for the environment than
it's
a gas
a
powered
huge
car.
amount.
Yeah.
Your little electric car, it takes just to drive around, say 100, 150 miles, takes as much energy as you do to run your house for a week.
Yep.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
And that's just 150 miles. So it is a lot of, but I'm not opposed to them necessarily. I think it's an interesting idea. But the problem is they keep selling it like it's going to be a solution when the reality is it's almost an even trade.
Yeah.
You're just moving something from one hand to another unless you improve upon the car. You have to not make the same car and just make it electric and say, oh yeah, we're doing great. No, you need to make a car different. You need to make it lighter so it goes further, and then basically then you're chewing away at the reality of making it more efficient and so forth. But they don't say that though. We're just three guys sitting here. We don't have connections or know anybody, and it's like, but everybody seems to be eating it up. They're all like, yeah, we got to do this, and it's like, why?
So where me and Cameron's brain would go just for fun real quick is they want us off the gas powered cars and into electric ones so that one day the government can press a button and all the cars just take you to work as your little work animal, and then they take you right back home so you don't have the freedom to drive everywhere.
If you go outside of your 15-minute city boundary, your car just fucking shuts off. And it's like, sorry, turn around. It's like,
that's where me and Cameron like to go with it,
Yeah.
Like one of those shopping carts in the city where the wheel locks up whenever you get out the parking lot.
Yeah,
you guys experience that?
Yep. They tested the technology at Target. And now they're ready to roll.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
you're right. Exactly. You're exactly right that can happen. But that's so much of the digital age is like that. So just speaking of the library at Alexandria. So when everything becomes an ebook, who's going to know when the ebook changes?
Right. Yeah.
You're like, you're not going to have a copy that says, Berenstain Bears.
Yep.
There's not going to be any way to know because all of it, they'll just in the background, they'll just change it at the, central computing, and then it goes out and everybody's got the same copy. And you may remember it, but then everybody's just like they do with the Mandela, they'll just say, oh, you're nuts.
Yeah. You're not remembering it right. It's like, okay.
Yeah. You're misremembering.
Yeah.
Oh, that one is fun.
Sounds like thought police. Wasn't that the job of the guy in 1984 was to edit things that had been
written? Yeah, edit things. And I mean, it's already happening. They're editing. So I don't know, for movies on streaming and so forth, you go to the theater, you'll see a version, and then when it gets to be on streaming, you may see a different version because of something that's happened in the interim, or just because they want to. I mean, everybody, you guys are probably a little young for this, but George Lucas kept fucking around with Star Wars, and everybody was pissed off about it. But that's what's happening now. He's the pioneer of the, I want to make it the way I want it rather than the way it really was.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's happening. I think it was the Flash movie or something. Something changed between the theater and when it came on to the streaming services, and somebody pointed that out. But eventually, it's going to be so seamless that you won't be aware of it, and so therefore, you're kind of like, well,
yeah. That's why it's important to buy books, physical copies, ladies and gentlemen.
Right, keep your books and keep your knowledge to to have for yourself. Ownership is going to be, they already. Speaking of cars, pushing cars to be non-owners, so you'll just get whatever car is available or something.
Right.
It'll all be Uber or Lyft owned or government owned, who knows? But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, on that front, as long as I could still have some freedom, I wouldn't mind. But yeah, if they're just gonna drive me back and forth to work, and screw that, I don't want to do that. Come on,
No,
I didn't want to go to work now. What are you
I
talking
know,
about?
right?
Yeah,
And now
yeah.
the car is like, the car is honking outside, like, "Hey, you're late for work." It's like,
You're late
shit.
for work.
Oh man, you know what that reminds me of? Have you guys ever seen the movie Downsizing?
Yeah.
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 In that little like area that he moves into, that's how it works. There's just cars parked all along, and you just get in a car, and you punch in where you want to go. Or I can't remember if he's driving it or if you punch it in, but you drive your car to where you want to go, and then you get out, and the car just takes off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, that won't work in our society. They'd just be full of garbage and homeless people.
Yeah.
Piss.
Yeah.
There's just gonna be a bunch of piss all over the back
Yeah,
seats.
yeah, it'd be like
God.
it'd be like roaming brothels or something. That'd be like,
Yeah.
hey, you hop in, there's some woman in the back seat with her legs spread asking you for $100 or something.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be the new way the prostitutes will come to you. It's like pop-up ads online.
That's right.
There's gonna be pop-up prostitutes in the back. Like, nope, no, thank
Uh-huh.
you.
Yeah.
It's like in the movie The Other Guys when Will
Yeah,
Ferrell loses his car and the cops are like, "Oh yeah, another hobo sex party happened in it."
it's like,
That's
thanks for the
right.
fuck shack, Dirty Mike and the boys.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh shit. That's exactly where my mind went, Avery. That's funny. He
Yeah.
thought of that too.
Yeah.
Ah, that's goofy.
So strange.
Yeah. And so back to your point about, you were mentioning why cars aren't made out of fiberglass, and why there's this push for electric and whatnot. I think that there is a bunch of companies all in bed with each other, lining each other's pockets, like, hey, you don't want to make cars out of fiberglass, because then what am I going to do with my aluminum plant?
That's
You
right.
know?
Yeah. What am I gonna do? Yeah.
Right.
I got all these Chinese digging iron ore, making steel for me.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is, and that's not the first time. There's a movie with Matt Damon called The Informant. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I've
Oh
never
yeah.
seen it.
About price fixing in the corn industry, right?
Yeah.
And so I grew up by Archer Daniels, which is the company they're talking about is Archer Daniels Midland, which owns a bunch of the grain elevators and the corn and everything for the United States and over across the world, actually. And so it was funny watching that, because there was a big price fixing thing there where basically they were all in agreement how much corn was going to cost. And they were making oodles of money. And then they finally got out of control, and they got busted for it. But I mean, that's happening, I think, everywhere in every sector. There's something like that going on, because, it can. I mean, yeah, they say there's rules and everything, but you know how it goes.
Well, they make
You worked in an office, and
but they
somebody gets away with everything, and then you got to wait till they move on, or get put in jail, hopefully, or something.
Right. Right. And to your point about like the price fixing, I remember back in I don't remember, but I remember hearing about it and reading about it when light bulbs were first becoming a thing. All the major light bulb manufacturers had a round table and said, hey, we need to make these more expendable. Like they last way too
Right,
long.
they last too long. Yeah.
Yeah, like people are going to buy one fucking light bulb and then that's it. So we need to make these filaments small enough to break.
Right. That's what's that the firehouse that has that light bulb from like 1910 or something?
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. I bought a house and it was made in the 20s, and I swear to God, the porch light was the same light bulb that was in there when I bought the house.
Yeah.
And it still worked. And this thing was like it was like one of those real heavy glasses,
Yeah.
real heavy glass. And it worked until I dropped the thing, and then it didn't work anymore. But it worked for me for years, and I swear it was from the 1920s. So, gosh, this is crazy.
That's so cool. You drop the light bulb, and a fucking evil spirit flies out.
That's right. There goes my light pixies.
Yeah.
Because they did, and then we made the turn to LED. I don't even know why those go out. To be honest with you, those things last forever.
Right.
But they go out. Amazing.
Yep.
Probably because they got to fit into that little, code that they wrote back in the day at that round table.
Right.
Like it can't
That's
last
right.
longer than this, or we're going to come shut your company down.
microchip in there that then sets off a small explosive device and burns up the LED.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's just on a time fuse.
Right.
Man.
Every time you turn it on, it ticks. It's like you ever some equipment, they don't have mileage, they have a timer. So every time the engine's running, it ticks over a timer for like big equipment. It's like that. So
Yeah.
But
Same thing with iPhones.
Yeah. No, they get lucky. Gravity takes care of most iPhones, it seems like.
That's true.
Yeah, it does.
That's very true.
You think they put giant corners on these things so when you drop them, they didn't shatter every time.
No, well then where did their money go? They need
Yeah,
to
I
buy
know.
the
Then
next one.
exactly, that's the deal. Oh, we don't want big corners because it doesn't look good. What are you talking about? You guys are setting style. All these people who follow style are just a bunch of sheep following whatever they're putting out there. So
Right.
Yeah.
I noticed that with those big, stupid fucking red boots that people were wearing. Did you guys notice that?
Oh yeah, the Mario boots. Yeah.
Like those are not good looking boots at all, but they were the hot shit for well over a month. Everybody was wearing them. Every famous person that you knew had a pair. And it was like the new flex. It's the same with Yeezys. They look so stupid. But people are like, oh, dude, it's the new shit.
Yeah. Everybody falls for it, right? We're all so gullible, aren't we?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's kind of wild. I mean, just you have to. For me, at least, I always try to as much as I can, because we all, are easily foiled, but it's to try to listen to what is saying and then watch what is happening. And a lot of times there's a big incongruence to those two. And so they say one thing, but then they, for instance, and I'm always surprised when people will jump into another one here. So Space Force just became something, a year or two ago.
Yeah.
There's been a Space Force like since the 60s because but nobody wanted to say anything. But they had Space Force as soon as we went into space because that's the nature of how things work. I'm like, why haven't we gone back to the moon? You know why? Because we've been going to the moon and we've been putting shit there like missiles and defense things and everything, because why wouldn't we? I mean, any kid knows if you're going to play war with somebody, where do you want to be? The bottom of the hill or the top of the hill?
Top of the hill,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Top of the hill. And what's the top of the hill right now? It's out in space, right?
Right.
So we've been out there, and then now they say, oh, we just invented the Space Force and it's going to be the Space Force. No, we didn't just invent the Space Force. We've probably been out there for 50 years,
Yeah.
But everybody buys it. Oh yeah, this is the new Space Force.
I know, and then they released like a Steve Carell sitcom about it, like
right
after Space Force is a thing. It's like, is this pro wrestling or is this real? What's going on?
There you go. Pro wrestling. Exactly. You're right. There you go. That should be on a t-shirt. Life is just like pro wrestling, right? Pay attention.
I'm writing it down.
Because it doesn't make it makes total sense when you say, strategically, we need to have weapons in space. Total sense. Doesn't make total sense when you say, okay, since 1973, we've never been back to the moon. Makes no sense.
I agree.
They've been back to the moon. They're just doing other shit up there they don't want you to know about.
It's all classified, redacted.
Right.
They don't want you to
exactly.
know. Did you guys ever hear that video of the dude? I know you have, Avery. It's the NASA guy. And he's like talking about, he's like, yeah, we'd love to go back to the moon. We would, but we lost that technology. We destroyed it. And it's been a painful process to build it back.
Right. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I mean, have you gone? Yeah. Have you gone to Smithsonian Aerospace Museum and seen the shit they took to the moon? My God. I mean, it's not much more than like a tinfoil wrapped cardboard box, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not super, the rockets that Musk and Bezos are making still look like shit. I mean, we should have much better stuff than that. Now, I think we do have much better stuff. It's just that they want to keep this, fairy tale going that going to space is so hard that, we can't do it, when the reality is we've been doing it continually.
Right. For sure.
For sure. Speaking of space, another thing that always gets my shit is they're like, well, you can't launch because of all the debris in space. Right. Okay. Yeah. Think about it. Think about that statement. There's so much debris in space that we can't launch into space. I mean, McDonald's hasn't covered the Earth in wrappers yet, and yet we've covered the atmosphere in junk from space, even though it's larger than the Earth.
Right. Exponentially larger than the surface area.
Yes.
But no, yeah, you're right.
Now I
too much
realize you're like,
debris.
well, yeah, but it's traveling at 10,000 miles an hour, and a little speck can, rip a hole through our cardboard and tinfoil spacecraft. But the reality is there's more junk generated on the Earth, and we still haven't buried ourselves in that yet. And yet space is hindered by all this stuff. That's just totally incongruous. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
I realize, yes, that can be dangerous, and that's true. There's a certain amount of truth, but there's also a certain amount of bullshit to all of it.
100%.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I'm surprised. We should have a space elevator at this point, to be honest with you. So.
I agree. We should be able to beam up like Scotty.
Yeah, there probably is one. We're not privy. So
yeah.
If we were privy, we would know about it.
100%. So I have this theory about the moon landing, and I just want to get your opinion on it first before I tell you what it is. Do you think we went to the moon when we said we did?
I do, actually. I think we did go to the moon. I know there's a lot of conspiracy about going to the moon and so forth, but I think we did go in the 60s and everything, but I don't think that there was there could have been a certain amount of showmanship that happened during it, because it's always a blend, right? So to me, all these things are always kind of a blend of reality versus kind of the show that everybody's putting on. But I actually do think that we did. And there's interesting theories about how we didn't, but I haven't kind of tipped over to that side yet. So
right. Well, so one of the biggest things that makes me think that and not necessarily that it's never happened, but that I don't think it happened when we say it did, is that we were right in the middle of a proclaimed space race and Cold War with the Soviets. And what better propaganda to push out than we did it, we beat you.
Right. Oh, sure.
And so that's like the kiddie pool version of it. And then you start getting deeper and you're like, wait, so the president talked to him on a phone from his office?
Right. Yeah.
That's the other point that I struggle with so much. It's like he was talking to him on a landline.
A landline.
But he's in space.
That's part of the show.
Yes.
Right. That's part of the show. Well, I have one for you guys here. So speaking of that, so there's been countless wars since World War II and since the moon launch and all that kind of stuff, right? And we're currently even in the Ukraine is having problems even to this day, right? Have you, in your mind, your memories, has there ever been a time we have not joined Russia to go to space?
No,
I don't think so.
So they're our worst enemy. We hate those fuckers, and yet we still buddy up, go over to Russia. A lot of times they're launched out of Russia. Go over to Russia to send people up to the space station, bring people back from the space station. We've never, ever said, you know what? I'm so pissed at you. I'm not going to utilize your space stuff anymore.
Right.
That's a very...
So are we really enemies?
No.
Man.
So, that to me, that's always been the thing. It's like, they always do all this shit about how we hate Putin and all this kind of stuff, but God damn it, if they're not, we just said that just another rocket went up to the International Space Station and was launched out of Kaspersky or whatever that place is over there, Kazakhstan, which is Russian territory. And it's like, wait a minute, I thought aren't we selling weapons to the Ukrainians to kill Russians right now because we hate them? Yeah, same thing with China, same thing with all the nations. It's never been bad enough for us to not do that, which to me tells me that it's all for show. You know what I mean? It's all just to keep this economy and everything else chugging along.
Right.
We got to keep everybody happy with the defense contractors and everything.
I was just going to say, you don't want people to slow down production. I mean,
right,
if they think everything's peaceful, they might take a day off.
Right, exactly.
God forbid.
Exactly. So it always boggles my mind when I think, I'm like, well, wait a minute. wait a minute, these guys aren't mad at each other. They're buddies. I mean, I always think of the government, all the government, the world governments as lawyers. Lawyers go into court and they're like, you're ruining the world and we're suing you and you're the worst thing. And then they go out and have a drink and get something to eat.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all about money. It's all
about money.
100%.
Exactly.
It's just like Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man.
Exactly. They're hanging out together.
Get hammered afterwards.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you
Come
something.
on, Hulk, snap to a Slim Jim. I got to get me another deal.
See, I'm just hoping
it's all the same.
When they put Putin and Trump and Xi on the same little card, and they're fucking Trump's in his underwear in the top rope,
Royal Rumble,
rallying up the crowd.
Exactly. It's all a show in some ways. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But everybody eats it up. I mean, they're all like, it's like morning cereal, man.
100%.
Can't get enough of it.
I know.
Get enough of it.
Well, and it's just fear porn at this point. Like, people are glued on to what's going on in the Middle East now. It's like all over my Facebook feed for people who I wouldn't trust their opinion on anything, health, fitness, how to properly play a sports game or whatever. And then they have these grand opinions about what's going on in the Middle East. And it's like, okay, all right, buddy.
Yeah. It's so ridiculous. It's just hilarious how the world works. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever most of the time.
Yeah.
At least to me. Maybe I'm just not making sense. I don't know.
And that's what I get afraid of sometimes, is I'm like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And then somebody's like, buddy, it makes sense. You're just crazy. I'm like, fuck.
And I don't see. I guess I'm delusional enough to never believe them at this. Still, maybe I will one day. Where I'm like, oh yeah, I am crazy, but not yet.
Right.
I'm like, you're crazy. What are you talking about? You're crazy. Think about it. We got to be further along in this. I heard a thing recently about fashion and things. So if you guys, you're young guys, so I was going to ask you guys this question, because if you look at the archival stuff, I mean, you look at a picture, that's the 60s. You look at a picture, that's the 70s, right?
Yeah.
80s has a look. 90s has a look. Do you see is there a look whenever you look at things for the 2000s and the 2010s and the 2020s? Is it different to you?
Yes.
I think there's a big difference between 2010 and now, I absolutely do think there is a distinction. For 2010 is like your classic, Jordans and stuff like that. But for 2010 to now, it's kind of like torn up clothes and trash bags and stuff like that.
It's like hobo culture.
Yeah.
Hobo culture.
Yeah.
That's funny. That gets back to the 90s. That was all grunge and everything.
Yeah. It all moves in 30-year cycles.
Yeah. Just leapfrogging, huh? Okay, I'm just curious, because I mean, for me, because I'm older than you guys, to me, I'm like, I haven't seen much change, but I'm not in that position. That's why I had to ask you. So like, 80s and 90s, I can tell you, but when you get into the 2000s, I'm like, I don't know. I've been working and thinking about space, space junk. So I don't know, but you guys, that gives me a better feeling that it actually is moving forward. Somebody had made a statement that we're not fashion is not moving the same way it used to, I guess.
Well, I wouldn't say forward is the direction that it's moving.
But whatever, sideways.
Much more lateral movements if it's not going down the stairs,
Yeah.
When I think of 2010, I think of like, and Avery, you might, agree with this, like Osiris shoes, silly bands. Neon colored glasses with like the lions on them. I don't know, there was like the swoop hair was huge in the 2010s.
Oh, they come down in front of your face.
Yep. Swooped hair was big. I've noticed man buns are like bigger after 2010. Like that was like a whole fad that hit. Messy buns, man buns.
Yeah.
People like shaving the side of their head, notching their eyebrow. Like there's just weird. It's much more like cosmetic than I think like fashion. I think it's like body modification is the new norm.
I agree. And actually,
were you guys on tattoos? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. I want to change my answer real quick. I think in 10 years, we'll look back and say this era's fashion is to dye your hair and cry in the street. I think that will be our fashion.
Gender
cry in the
mutilation
street.
will be the fashion of the two.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
I'm so glad we don't have to cry in the street anymore.
Yeah. I have like 4 or 5 tattoos myself.
Okay, so
yeah,
tattoo culture was a thing that kind of has gone up and down as well, and I was just curious where you guys were at with it, because there's a certain age group where you see people have a lot of tattoos.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of on the down right now. I mean, maybe they're more personal, perhaps, rather than just being everywhere. Because for a while there, it was like, you'd see, and everybody would have tattoos all over the place.
Yeah.
And now I think it's on the downside, where you have maybe a couple, but not. They're more personal, right?
Right. They have meaning to
rather than just being everywhere all the time. So I'm just curious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a fashion thing, really. I mean, tattoos are really a fashion thing if you look down straight, through it. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
What I think with the tattoo movement, it was probably people in like the 90s, like probably like through 80s through the 2010s that had enough money to blow on tattoos. Because what I've noticed is tattoos are so fucking expensive. I gotta like budget my tattoos, plan for it for tax season and shit,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's probably good though. The cheap ones, give you a hepatitis and stuff. So that could be like Pamela Anderson got a cheap tattoo. Now she's got a Hep C. So
God. That's terrifying. That reminds me of like my friends back in the day. They would give themselves like little stick and pokes and shit. And I was always very weary of that. I was like, dude, be careful. For God's sake, like don't kill yourself. Don't get ink.
Right, you're gonna get an infection, and then you gotta,
Well, they just look like shit, man. I have a little smiley face on my leg that just won't go away.
Get some sandpaper
and I guess, yeah.
Oh God, I can't imagine that. Fuck.
You just need to take out the pocket knife and cut a square and
cut it right out.
Lift up several layers. You'll be all right.
It's like a bloody
not
carpet.
all the way down there. Eventually, yeah.
Oh God. It's so
eventually you'll get to that layer where the ink is. Take care of it.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Bleed it out. That's brutal.
Then you just got a big scab and like, what the hell's that scab? It looks like a smiley face.
I know for a while
never mind.
Branding was a big thing.
Oh yeah.
I noticed people they'd brand themselves like cattle. They're like, dude, this is my name right here. It's my letter.
Yeah.
And it just looks
it's
painful.
my brand.
Yeah.
I've only had unintentional brands where I ride a motorcycle and stick my leg on something and then all my flesh falls.
I've done that.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah. Cameron Tucker, actually, he got a brand new big ass Harley and I sat on it in shorts.
No.
Put my leg right up against the exhaust. Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
You look cool for about a minute and then you put your leg up there and you're like, holy fuck, why am I wearing shorts on this thing?
Yeah.
You just stick to the motorcycle.
Just peeled it off and he left,
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Circular skin patch or something. Yeah. Unfortunately, I've done it more than once. And so I'm kind of stupid in that regard, I suppose.
I've heard of people doing that on those Vipers as well. Those little sports cars, because they've got the exhaust pipe that runs right along the door.
Next to it. Yeah.
Oh,
and they'll go to step out and just burn themselves.
Put their ankle.
Yeah. The developers got smart and put a little cover, luckily, but
yeah,
for a while
then you can
raw dogging it.
Then after you wreck it, you can at least say, hey, look at this burn on my leg. That's when I had my Viper.
Yeah.
I wrecked it.
Yeah. At least that's a cool battle scar.
That's right. I'm surprised they didn't put the name there, so that way when you burned yourself, it said Viper on your leg.
It's all PR.
You do it wrong, you've just got ER burned on your
leg. Or VIP if you get lucky.
That would be cool. All right, I probably will get branded.
Yeah.
We've talked them into it. We talked them into it. All right.
Oh, that's funny stuff.
You're gonna get the yin yang branded on yourself somewhere.
Oh God, I think that goes against what the yin yang's all about.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
You meet some Buddhist, he's like, "What the fuck did you
Yeah,
do, man?"
what are you doing with it? I backed
Oh,
into my hot, metal. I had an outdoor fireplace with this in it, and I backed into it.
God. Yeah, that's a fear. I burned myself bad when I was a kid on a grill, and now I'm afraid to touch anything hot. It worked, I guess, but yeah,
Yeah, get that fear response in you.
exactly, exactly. That's we're simple animals, and the fear response is the strongest one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. That's another piece of logic. We don't call ourselves animals. We like, oh, we're above everything, but aren't we just the same as all the rest of this stuff? Well,
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
not quite, but almost, right?
I
Yeah.
think the only
I
thing
think
that
that
separates us is that we're self-aware enough to notice the animalistic nature.
Yeah.
well, maybe not everybody.
Yeah.
But
True.
but to loop it back, I think that's why the Bigfoot debate is so hot. To loop it back to that aspect of it is because we don't know of any other animals that are that look like us, are bipedal and walk around, but that's what Bigfoot does, right? So I think that's why people are so interested in it, and also why the fact that if it is proven, it makes everybody nervous because we like to be apart, right? We
Yes.
like to
Yeah.
be the only kind of thing. I'm not talking about kangaroos because they're on two legs and because they look wacky, and all that kind of stuff. And bears can walk on two legs, but not for a real long time.
Yep.
They look like hillbillies when they do it. And
Yeah.
then, but yeah. But I mean, then that means there's something else, right? That is very similar but not the same, and then we kind of lose our originality at that point, maybe.
Right. I think we've got a superiority complex about being the only ones that can
Oh
do what
yeah,
we can,
big time.
communicate in the way
That
we can and create in the way we do.
I think that's what makes it so gullible because we constantly think that nothing and no one or can do better
Yep.
because we are who we are, but the reality is there's a lot of things that do better than we do in nature and so forth, and we just don't want to admit it. So
Right.
it's interesting that way.
Yep. I
Not to
agree.
mention whenever all the people come out of the hollow earth and take over, but that's a whole other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That's a scary thing to think about. Jordan Peele kind of touched on that idea with his
Mhm.
movie Us.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
very
Did you guys
interesting.
like that one at all? Us?
It freaked me out.
Yeah.
Scared the
Okay.
shit out of me. The way those
What was
people
the other one?
talked got right under my skin. I didn't like how they
Yeah.
talked.
You had
Mm.
Us, you had Get Out, and then the newest one is called Nope.
Yeah, Nope's
Nope.
about
Yeah.
Yeah.
aliens, right?
Yeah.
Right. Nope. I didn't like as much. I
It
think
I
was
he
haven't
a
seen
changed
that.
his he
it was
changed his
hard to
mind
get
halfway.
behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, it just weird stuff. But I mean, I think that's we like to think we're so special, but I think in reality we're not quite that special
Yeah.
as the human race or whatever you want to call it, human beings.
Yep.
We're just an animal that's got lucky.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, we were
Yeah.
blessed. To the point about aliens, what do you think about all the disclosure happening right now?
Again, that I think I'll go like I did with Bigfoot. But I think there are aliens. I don't know that we necessarily. Actually, I'll go as far as to say I think there are aliens. I think there are people who know about them, maybe in the government, perhaps, and other people. But as far as the disclosure go, I think it's a lot of noise to try to confuse people. I would always hope that the truth would emerge and everything, but unfortunately, I think that again, just like we were talking about how people, if it's something that has two arms, two legs, and is not a human, then we're going to be real scared about it. I think that's the kind of the same thing with the aliens is that, if it comes to pass, then everybody's going to be all freaked out about it. Not to the point where, it's mass hysteria, but it we don't need that existential crisis to think, oh, we're not that special, right? These
Yeah.
people are
Yeah.
more special. They have better technology. They have better this. They have better that. But I think the disclosure talk and everything is just another smokescreen for something else going on. With the government, you always have to think why are they doing this?
Yep.
And look, whenever they're telling you to look right, look left,
100%.
because they're using it for some purpose. I'm almost guaranteed that they're using it for some ulterior motive, to accomplish something or to do something or what have you. Have you guys seen a UFO?
I have not personally.
I have seen a UFO, so I can tell you
Wow.
about that real quick.
Yes, please.
So it was in 2005 in May, and it was right about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Not much different than we are today, except in May, so it was sunnier. The sun was up, and it was a ball. It was like a metallic ball, and it probably, my guess, I'm not necessarily very good with accurate guesses of things in the sky, but it was probably about 4 times the size of a 747 nose cone in the shape of a sphere.
Wow.
And I just happened. This is the weird part of the story is I had to pick my kids up from. They were little kids, and I picked them up from daycare or whatever because I got chosen to do so. And I brought them home, and they didn't want to go in. They wanted to swing on the swing set that we had, so I was swinging them. And my son was interested in planes. He was like 3 years old or something, 2 years old, and I would tell him because the planes would fly overhead where we lived at that time. And so a plane would fly over. I said, "Hey, look, buddy, there's a plane. Swing, swing, swing." We was out there for maybe 45 minutes or something. And then I look up out of the corner of my eye. I see this thing. I look over. It's this giant ball, and it's a beeline, straight as can be. Probably, my guess would be 10 to 15,000 feet in the air, but it was big enough to see, obviously.
Yeah.
And it just went from the southeast to the northwest, and like right over us. And within maybe 20 seconds, it went from my vision on the southeast all the way to the northwest, out of sight.
Wow.
Just screaming across the sky, right? And it was a ball because I saw the front of it and I saw the back of it. And so there wasn't, I tell people the story. They're like, "Oh, well, number one, they say you're high." I'm like, "What are you? I just got the kids from daycare. I wasn't high." And then they're like, "Well, it was just a plane, and you just saw the front of it." I'm like, "No, I saw both sides." "Oh, well, it was a satellite." I'm like, "It was fucking 4 o'clock in the afternoon in May. I mean, the sun couldn't have been even more shining,
Yeah.
Right.
A beautiful day." And I mean, and then they're like, "Why didn't you take a picture?" I'm like, "Well, at the time you didn't have iPhones and everything, so I didn't have a phone to take a picture with. And if I would have, the phone I had was, a little Nokia or something. So the picture would have been this piece of shit picture like we used to have."
Right.
But but anyway, yeah, I saw this and it's just wild. I mean, I didn't even mention it. I mean, I just stood there and stopped pushing the kids and watched it go by. And then I'm like, at the time, I don't know if you guys hear about spherical UFOs. At that time, I hadn't really heard about them. And so this was just like crazy. I'm like, it wasn't a flying saucer or a triangle or what you normally would, a cigar shaped or anything like that. It was a ball. It literally was just like a big ball up there. And it just was crazy. So I started searching, and I found a site at the time was called ufomaps.com. And this is old, 2005. It's not the internet that we have today.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that somebody saw it in another town close by. Same thing. A ball went over about the same time. So then, because at first I'm like, did I see this? Did I not see this? I got these 2 little kids who are just playing and laughing and what have you. They're not going to be good witnesses, I'm by myself, nobody around. And but then I found this thing, and sure enough, somebody else had spotted it, and it was there's the description and everything was very similar. So it's just a weird thing to witness.
Right.
For sure.
And then I just had to process this. Now, I don't know. I didn't see occupants. I didn't have any kind of like thing telling me in my head that this is, "Oh, we come in peace," or any kind of shit like that. It just flew over, and that was it, just as if a plane had flown over, or, geese had flown over, and I just happened to catch it. And I've never seen anything since. Never saw anything before, and I've never seen anything since. And so it's just weird. But to me, the big thing was that it was circular. It didn't make really any noise. I mean, I didn't hear anything,
That
but it
was
was
going to be
way
my
up there.
question, was what noise did it
Yeah,
make?
and it didn't like have a contrail or anything. It did. I did notice that it went behind a cloud and in front of a cloud, so it was way up there, and I could see that it was in the clouds. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but it's just a weird experience to have that, and then that's it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, at the time, there's no. I mean, we don't have any circular aircraft. It wasn't the tic tac like they've been touting now, or the pyramids, which you've seen all the videos from the Department of Defense and so forth.
Yeah.
It was a ball, and it was the strangest event, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm just like, well, that's weird. What could that be? And it wasn't like it was shot out of a cannon or anything. We're talking something, like I said, it was as big, 4 times as big as a jet. So,
Wow.
because because it was, I could just, I mean, that's what I was looking at. I'm like, I've seen planes go overhead, and this thing is a lot bigger than the front of a plane. So,
Right.
yeah, it's just bizarre. And so it always makes you think. I don't know if it was something that was from someplace else. I've never really, you know, I've never said that, but I also don't know of anything that anybody's admitted to that we, as the military has, that is a ball, you know? And how is that useful? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
The only reason, to me, the only way a ball aircraft would be useful would be is if it doesn't land on the ground, or it hovers above the ground and you get out and kind of, you know, close to the ground or something,
Yeah.
or it goes in the water or
I was
something.
just going to say, unless it's a submersible,
Yeah.
got to be
Isn't that
aerodynamic in
wild?
water and in air.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it just the weirdest thing. I've always hoped that I'd see something again, but I still haven't.
Yeah.
I'm not one of these obsessive people that looks at the sky all the time.
Right.
Right.
But you know, just on your regular day, it's just one of those kind of deals. It's like, you know, you catch that. It's just weird.
Man.
Definitely.
But
That's so
yeah.
interesting.
And so do you guys think that do you think, just I described this to you. So what's your thoughts?
Sounds like a mothership.
Mothership. Yeah, it was probably, you know, same thing. What can you think? Really, it was either otherworldly, or it could have been an Area 51 type deal. I don't know.
What do you think? Do you think that do you guys believe that there are? I have aliens in my other side of my picture here. The
Oh
picture of
yeah.
aliens. Do you believe that there are aliens at all, or what's your take on that?
Yes.
Yeah. So my belief is kind of funnier. I just think that aliens are demons. I think they're. I think anything. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard. I think they're.
That's okay. I'm just curious.
I think they're demons, is what I think. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they're demons.
Yeah.
Something that
And what about
lends.
you, Cameron?
So my indoctrination from science fiction and whatnot, you know, things like Star Wars, my inclination is that they're otherworldly, and that it's some sort of this, you know, race that's probably keeping tabs on us. I really like the Ancient Aliens idea about how we were kind of seeded from aliens, and that they're checking up on their science project, making sure no mold's growing. And yeah, you know,
the kid peeking into the ant farm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there
giving
any
it a
dead
shake.
ants in there?
Yeah, giving it a shake every once in a while, picking an ant out, seeing what's going on with it, and putting it back. But what lends a lot of credence to what Avery's talking about with them being demons, and there's accounts for this as well with Bigfoot, but they mention that when people do have an alien encounter, they mention this putrid smell, like this really like worse than death, this very bad smell. And they say this with the skunk ape and Sasquatch as well, but that's also a common trope amongst, you know, demonology, and the Catholic Church has written all about that demons exude this like awful,
sulfur and
awful
brimstone and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And so yeah, that's what I think lends a lot of credence to the idea of them being, and maybe not, and I don't even know where I would categorize demons in. Maybe demons are aliens. You know, it's like you could flip it both ways.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think they're all the same kind of thing, presenting itself in whatever way is most acceptable to the viewer.
The interesting thing to me, so, and this again is just experiential, so I'm not the bad smell and everything. If a long time ago I worked in meat packing, right? And so they had a thing called the inedible room, which is all the parts that you're not going to make into lunch meat or yeah, it's on your face camera.
Oh, it's fucking
Oh
sounds
yeah.
gross.
and then basically the truck that come by, they put it in these big like Rubbermaid buckets, like those big gray buckets.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like guts and things like that. And then the truck would come by, and it was like a big dump truck, like a garbage truck, and it would put them all in there, and then would take it over, and it would be parts of those would be made into dog food. But anyway, so don't eat dog food, by the way. But the interesting thing is, it smells like death, right?
Mm-hmm.
This whole room smells like death. But I'll tell you what, it did not smell bad. It smelled sweet. Like excruciatingly sweet. Like if you walked in there, it was so sweet it was bad.
Okay. Yeah.
Weird.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I know what you're talking about, kind of.
So death. So to me, I've always equated, because of that experience, I've always equated death with smelling sweet, because essentially this is a room of pieces and parts of pigs, basically.
Right.
But whenever you walk in there, it's like the sweetest, grossest, sweetest thing you've ever smelled.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
Oh, that's
if you get a chance, I mean, not that you want to do this, but
I kind of do though.
If you ever go to a packing plant, say, is there, you guys have the inedible room? Can I go take a look at that?
Yeah.
And it's just it's full of flies usually, but yeah, the sickeningly sweet smell when you walk in there, it's just bizarre. Which goes against the whole what you guys are talking about with the brimstone and smelling bad, because it wasn't necessarily a bad smell on its own. It was overwhelming. It was the bad part.
Right.
Yeah.
But it wasn't overwhelmingly like, oh my God, I'm so disgusted that it smells so bad, I can't stand it. It was like, it smells so sweet, I can't stand it, which is weird. But yeah.
That is weird. Wow, I've never heard that before. That's so interesting.
Yeah. It is. Taking apart animals is a whole other fascinating. We'd all be vegetarians if everybody had to do that, I think. Well, I don't know, because we used to have to, but in today's society, because you don't have to do that with any regularity, it certainly is stomach churning whenever you get exposed to a lot of it. But to be honest with you, I still eat meat, so I guess it really totally affect me.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like there's like, I don't know, there's the way that we're primarily accustomed to it, which would be like you dress out your animal in the field, you're leaving the guts for other animals.
Right, yeah. Then they can nibble on that.
Right. And you're breaking it down in a proper way, and you're using almost everything in the animal, to where now it's turned into this different thing where they like cut the feet, cut the nose off, ears come off. Yeah. Those are dog toys. Guts come out into a bucket, dog food. It's like, yeah. I
hate to tell you, the ears and the nose go into head cheese and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For pigs, at least. Yeah. Mostly. I mean, they do make dog toys as well, but yeah. Back when I was working in it, because anyway, I had to work with they call it head meat, so all the eyebrows and like the muscles under the face and all that kind of stuff were all in a pan, and they would kind of gel, and then you'd throw it into the mixer with everything else. So
yummy.
Yummy. Oh Lord.
I don't mind.
Now we're way off topic here.
No, we're fine. I don't mind. I will say I can't get myself to eat a tongue yet. I've never had a tongue.
Well, yeah.
We
love everything processed. Yeah. If it didn't look like a tongue, you probably would eat it.
Yeah.
You probably do. If you eat hot dogs or you're probably
depends on
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you always go for the kosher, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's
you're gonna eat some dogs, get some kosher dogs, because you know that they don't put all the other shit in there to fill it out. Make it go farther.
See, I've heard some interesting things about dog meat, and I don't think I would ever test it myself, unless it was like, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Of course, if I'm a place where they're making dog meat, I might have to try some. But it is, I've heard it's like the best meat from people that do eat it. People like Bobby Lee, the comedian, mentions that like
It's
dog
really
meat's
good.
top of the shelf meat. But
You
it's like,
actually
I
would,
mean,
even you would in the right circumstance. I never would, man.
I
I
think I
can't.
would. I think I would, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't seek it out. It'd be like, oh,
Yeah,
they have dog right here.
yeah.
Okay, you
Do
know.
you think they put it? They think they put it on the menu that way? Is that what they're saying?
No, they
Or
probably
like
call it something else.
we call it Fido or
Yeah. Oh, God,
Rover?
they have it like packs of steak with the name of the cow on there. It's like this
Right,
one
yeah.
was bingo.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there's some place that does. What is it? They do that with the milk or something. I think isn't that just bizarre?
It's
They put
Yeah.
the name of the cow or something. It's like
Yeah.
That's weird. I would just try and those like Coca-Cola cans. I would just try to find one with my name on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, little do you know, Coca-Cola squeezing the life essence out of people into those cans.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how you
There's a
get
new
stronger.
conspiracy. There's a new conspiracy for you to start right there.
Yeah.
That's how you become more of yourself. You just drink only Cameron Coke.
That's right. Only
This is from the
Cameron's
essence of other
Coca-Cola.
Camerons.
Yeah.
All the
God.
old Camerons and useless Camerons get squeezed into this.
Yep. I'll take over the cow for him. Goodness. That's gross, man. Ooh. I'm gonna have to go on like a week kick of no pork, at least.
Yeah. Ugh.
Oh, yucky. Yucky. Well, we're getting down to the time. I'm gonna start wrapping it up. This was such a great conversation, Bob.
Yeah.
I,
This was
yeah,
fun.
I love all the tangents. That's like my favorite part about this kind of stuff. And you
Hey, never know what you're gonna get. Yeah.
Yeah.
right, and you're the master of the tangents. What I find sometimes when I'm doing interviews is I struggle like trying to think of like the next thing to push it to. But this conversation was fucking
Smooth.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we try to be organic as much as possible here.
Right. And I think that's what the listeners appreciate. I know personally I appreciate when I can tell somebody's just having a genuine conversation. There's nothing more frustrating when you go in to listen to a podcast and it's like regimented. You're like, wait. Okay, let's not get off topic now. Okay.
Yeah.
And they pull it back in. It's like, come on, man, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Well, he was gonna tell a story about guts from pigs.
Yeah. The people need to hear it.
Bigfoot's tiny penis.
Yes, that was my favorite part. If I had to do a little highlight reel, I think some Bigfoot dong is most certainly at the top of my list.
It's always the opposite. So you always think, oh, Bigfoot's got have a big schlong. No, he's just this tiny little penis.
Right, just this itty bitty little pecker, and that's why they get so big and tall. They're compensating.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh goodness, I love it. So for the people at home, give us a couple plugs. Do you have a website or an Instagram, something like that?
If they feel like it, they can go to staticradio.com, and then most of the socials, we got Static Radio is the social handle. So,
Perfect.
I mean, there's a few that we don't, but that's just because we're lazy and didn't get there fast enough. So,
right. Yeah, I'm in that same boat with it. I like had all these grand plans of having like a good Twitter and maybe creating like a little Facebook profile for the podcast. That's too much work, man.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, awesome.
We're not trying to build bridges here, for Christ's sake.
No,
Yeah.
God, no. What am I trying to network myself? Come on.
Exactly.
And all those links will be posted in the show notes for the ladies at home, or the ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen can see the links.
No, we just want to talk to the ladies. Fuck those guys. We don't
Yeah.
wanna talk
Yeah.
to them.
Gentlemen, tell the ladies about the links. So
Yeah.
Oh shit, I love it.
All right, guys.
Yeah, this was great, man, and we'd love to have you back on.
Oh, sure. I'll talk about anything you want.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's what I've noticed today. You've got a wellspring of shit to talk about, and in like a funny manner, which I appreciate, man. A lot of people in life are not as lighthearted anymore. They're too like regimented and strict, or they get offended if you say anything too dicey. It's good to just chat with people that you're not walking on eggshells about what you say.
Yeah.
Well, if you can't laugh, you just sit there crying in the street with your dyed hair. So.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Literally.
Oh, I love it. Avery?
Yes, sir.
Any final words, buddy?
Yeah, this was fun. Let's do it again. I don't know if maybe it would be too crazy with 4 people on the over the internet, but it'd be fun to do it with your co-host as well, Bob. That'd be fun.
If I
Yeah.
get him to show up, that fat fuck, he doesn't go and do
Yeah.
anything. I'm like, you can't get him to show up for the show we do, let alone
Yeah.
do anything else. But I certainly would ask him. I can't guarantee you. He'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, they're gonna buy me lunch or something. He's such a mooch. I swear to
Oh
Yeah.
God.
goodness. All right, I'll cash app him lunch money.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, you can't Venmo him because they didn't have Venmo. So it's like, what do you want all this stuff, but you don't want to do any work? Of course,
Yeah.
that's what he says. I don't want to do any work. Come on.
All right, I'll talk to my courier pigeon. I'm sure I can arrange something.
Exactly. Yeah. Good. You got to send him some McDonald Land coupons or something. I don't know what
Yeah.
he's doing.
I'll send a telegram with with the money wire. Oh, I love it. Well, this was great. Ladies and gentlemen, for the folks that are still listening, we laughed, we cried, we got grossed out. It was everything on this podcast. It was beautiful. And we need 5 stars from you. Bang the 5-star button on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Say some nice words, say some mean words, whatever you want to say, but just give us the 5 stars. I mean, come on now. It costs you no money at all, and it really helps the algorithm. So yeah, give it to us. Subscribe to the YouTube, and that's all I got to say. I'm not going to take you down Grifter Alley too long today.
All right, guys. You guys have a great day. Okay.
Yes, you too. Thanks, Bob.